Good morning. Welcome to another edition of Coffee with Tea. I'm your host, the amazing Tea Street. I'm really excited today to do today's topic. Today's topic: don't skip the process of making courageous choices. Don't skip the process of making courageous choices. Last night at Grandparent University, one of the grandparents said, Miss T, how was your trip to California? I said, oh, it was great. Had a great time, learned some things, had a great time. So one of the other grandparents said, Miss T, when you go out there, do you do what you're doing for us? And before I could answer, one of the other grandparents said, girl, no, you didn't see her because she doesn't follow me. You didn't see her. She talked to a whole bunch of kids, like 500 kids. And so I showed her a picture from, last weekend in California where I was speaking to 500 kids. And she says, well, what do you talk to the kids about? I said, well, this particular trip, I'm talking to them with the theme from Willy Wonka. And one of the first points that I'm making for them is don't skip the process of making courageous choices. That everything in life is a good morning, Stephanie. Everything in life is a process. So whatever you do, don't skip the process of making courageous choices. So she said, well, tell me about it. So I love when people ask questions. And so this grandmother wanted to know about making courageous choices. I said, well, there are really four steps to making courageous choices. The first one is you have to confront the fact that the reason we don't make courageous choices most often is because we've got some fear. And if we're honest about it, those fear are well founded. What are the we risk every time we make a choice? We risk something. We risk rejection. We risk being uncomfortable. We risk people not liking us. We risk failure. Those are some of the things that we risk. So the first thing you got to do in making a courageous choice is just be honest and confront the fear of making that choice, whatever that fear is that's keeping you from making it. The first thing you got to do is you got to confront it. Good morning, Anisha. You got to confront it. You just say, yep, I am afraid. That's what's keeping me from making whatever the courageous choice is. The next thing you got to do is you got to clarify your core values. What are the things that you value? And does the choice that you are about to make align to that? I told the kids this past weekend, and I'll say it to you. Our lives are the total sum of the choices that we have made, the good and the bad. What's the equation of my life? I've had some good days and I've had some bad days. And if I made it a math equation, I made far more good choices than bad choices, which means my life is not upside down because I've made more choices. If I was doing the math problem, positive choices has been for me greater than negative choices. But that don't mean that I haven't that my scale is like not like this because I've made some bad choices. And our lives, good morning, Miss Brown, is the summary of those some of those choices that I've made. But what I have to ask myself is in the season, whatever season I'm in, and understand this, your core values can change based upon seasons. People are like, no, T, what is your core? Is your core? No, there were seasons in my life where I valued mothering more than I valued a career. There are times in my life where I valued certain other things. Right now, the season of my life that I'm in, I value my walk with Christ and my discipling of other Christians more than I value my organizations. Yep, there it is. There are seasons where it shifts. So you got to ask yourself is whatever decision that I'm making, does it align with whatever it is that I value right now? And so if your values shift, it's okay for your priorities to shift. Good morning, Ms. Woods. It's okay for your priorities to shift. But whatever it is, you have to clarify what are your core values first. As you're making courageous choices, you got to confront the fear honestly. Then you got to say, these are the things that I'm valuing in this season. And so based on that, I'm going to make these choices because they align with what I'm doing. All right. The next thing, you have to consider the consequences. Every time you make a choice, good or bad, there are consequences that follow that choice. If you make good choices, generally the consequences are positive consequences. If you make bad choices, generally the consequences are bad consequences. Either way, there are consequences. So you have to consider what they are and ask yourself, am I willing to pay the cost for the choice that I made? I have always said, I'm going to do it knowing that it's wrong and I just deal with the consequences. Some of us are like that. I've always been like that. Right now, I'm selling out. I'm like, Lord, I'm gonna deal with the fact that people think I'm weird. I'm gonna deal with the fact that people don't understand my choices. I'm gonna deal with all that because right now, it's worth it to me. I'm willing to pay the cost of the choices that I'm making. That's important. You got to ask yourself, because there's sometimes, y'all, sometimes making difficult decisions and difficult choices, it costs us something. It costs us friendships. It costs us time. It costs us money. It costs us some things. But you got to ask yourself, is the choice that you're making worth the cost that you're going to pay? And if it is, do it. If it isn't, don't. And finally, commit and take the leap. Can I just be clear? Every time you get ready to make a choice, you got to make and take bold action. I dog double dare you to take an action in the direction of your choice. Because if you don't take an action, it's not really a choice, it's a thought. Mm. If you don't take an action behind that thought, it's just a thought. But the moment you put it into action, it now becomes a choice. And some of us stand on the edge. We go, am I going to jump? Am I going to jump into the pool? Or am I not going to jump into the pool? We stand and rock on the what? The high wire. We stand at the top and we just rock back and forth on the diving board, never making a decision. And sometimes we stand at the top of the diving board for hours. People are like, jump or don't jump. Get off the diving board. The moment you put an action behind that thought, you have now made a choice. And it's okay. Even if, good morning, Erica, even if you don't land well, the good news is most of the decisions that we make, I'm not talking about life altering decisions, y'all. I'm not telling y'all to go out there and do something that's dangerous, that's going to hurt you. But I'm talking about the choices of life. Don't skip the process of courageous choices. Confront the fear, honestly, clarify your core values, consider the consequences, commit, and take a leap. Put some action behind that thought. I'm the amazing T Street. You know what? There's absolutely positively nothing amazing in me. It's not in each and every one of you. So today I want to encourage you, don't skip the process of making courageous choices. Make the choices, y'all. Don't stay stuck on the diving board. Have an amazing day.